You've been hearing a lot lately that the dollar might be in danger of losing its global world reserve currency status. So where does this come in for us today? How are we going to be affected with what is going on in our current administration and our current economic climate where we continually are printing money, we're manipulating interest rates, we've got high inflation? What are the dangers and why does it affect you? Well, it's important to understand the dollar in two different ways. Number one, the dollar is the world's purchasing currency. The first part of the dollar is the extension or the arm that we use as a network to buy and sell goods. In fact, if you were to go to an airport in Saudi Arabia or Beirut, although they would have their own currencies, oftentimes they still have their own dollar. But here's the problem. Can you go on an airplane with $100,000 in cash? No, they're gonna stop you at the security checkpoint. Can you go through the airport with a gold bar? No, they're also gonna stop you and then probably there's gonna be a cavity search because they're like, where did you steal this from? The world is changing. And the government wants to get rid of the global purchasing currency, the way that we utilize a currency to buy and sell. They want to get rid of it because they want to be able to control the people. The goal is to have control from the government's perspective. So the dollar, cash if you would, they're trying to get rid of it. And frankly, with the advent of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, we are moving increasingly faster towards a digital dollar. This is not good for everyday Americans because it's going to mean that we have less freedom. They're going to be able to control us on a much larger scale. But it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with us losing the world's reserve currency status. The second part of the dollar that needs to be understood as the global reserve currency is debt held internationally. So when other countries, both in the private sector and the governmental sector, when they have excess cash that they need to do something with and earn some sort of return, we're talking billions of dollars. And where else can they invest billions of dollars in a safe way? Well, according to statistics, 60% of the world's reserves, both governmental and private institutions, they hold their reserves in treasuries. It's a place where they can park billions of dollars, where it's safe, it's with the strongest government in the world, and it's with a government that still has somewhat of a rule of law. The only way that somebody places their faith or their trust in any currency is that there's some sort of justice. There's some sort of laws that protect them from thievery. And so because of this, the vast majority of the world's reserves are held in treasury. So we've got number one, the dollar as the world's purchasing currency, the way that people buy and sell, but then the dollar as the world's debt equivalent. It's the world's safe spot to park their money. And because they're primarily held in treasuries in longer term increments, it's very unlikely that we're going to see a big moving away from treasuries as the world's reserve currency. Now, why would this be the case? The reason why it's unlikely for BRICS, we've got Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, as an alternative to the dollar. Look at these other countries. You know, most other countries don't trust China. They may in the short term, but not long term. And so the dollar is still the best bet among a bunch of flawed currencies. There's still a safe haven in the United States Treasury. So yes, we will probably see the extension or how we utilize dollars. Cash will probably go away. We may see that in the upcoming years, but we won't see the dollar as a world reserve currency go away because frankly, there are no good alternatives and too much money is already held in longer term treasuries. We won't see this change for probably at least a decade. What this means for you is that as long as we don't do something astronomically stupid here in our country, It's very unlikely for us to see our wealth diminish by 90% like some of those other countries that printed their way into oblivion. Although yes, we have a big spending problem, it's unlikely that America will print its way into virtually a currency that doesn't equate to anything. And that is good news. That's good news for you. That's good news for me. But if we don't solve these problems with printing and spending money, we are going to be in big trouble in about 10 years. If you like this video, you're going to want to check out our other 2 videos on how the government is going to pass a federal digital currency, as well as the dangers of a federal digital currency.